What's up, everybody? Today we are putting a lift kit on the Forester, or maybe some of you guys have watched my MaxspeedingRods coilover video, but this time it has just the stock Forester suspension on it, and then I've got 2-inch lift kit from MaxspeedingRods. So they're essentially spacers that go on top of each strut, and then we've also got a 2-inch space for the rear trailing arms. So the rear is going to be the hard part because unfortunately those bolts or the nuts for those bolts are inside the body. So if they come loose or whatever from loosening them, then you have to drill holes underneath the seat to get to the tops. So hopefully that doesn't happen. We'll do what we can to get it loose beforehand, but the rear is definitely going to be the tougher portion of this install. And then the front just has the spacers on top. So we're going to go ahead and measure where we're at all around on every corner and just see where we're at to begin with. We're at, looks like, right about 29. Driver's side rear. Looks like we're just under 29, maybe 28 3/4. The passenger side rear. Looks like we're about the same. And passenger side front. We're a little taller on this side than the other side. So just to get some base on where we are as far as the height of the car. With it being a lifted kit, I figured having a little more suspension with the stock struts and springs might help out. So we're going to start with that. Let's go ahead and see what we got from MaxspeedingRods. So here's our 2 boxes. Once again, just wanted to give a shout out to MaxspeedingRods for sending me both of these to make a video for you guys. So in our first box here, so here shows some of their factories and their sponsorships here. But yeah, they make a little bit of everything, not just coilovers and everything. So I'll have the link in the description for all of this as well. If you guys want to check it out and think about getting a set for yourself. Then we've got a little sticker, of course. Then we've got some nice foam packaging. So these are going to be our spacers for the rear trailing arm. There's one of them there. So we got a nice laser etched logo. And then we've got a whole bag of our other spacers. And then some grade 8 hardware there as well with washers. So it comes with everything we need to do the job. And then our second box here is going to be our actual spacers. So here's our first one. So here's our rear spacer, just so we can see the fitment there. Everything lines up perfect. We got a front one here that we'll test out after. Yep, right at the 2-inch mark. And then we're also going to have the hardware, because it's going to come with new studs to mount our struts. And then our OEM struts are just going to get mounted through here. Nice big bag of hardware. Got everything we need there. And here's our front spacer. Yeah, here's that on here. My other one's getting in the way there, but got plenty of room for access and everything. That's everything that comes in both boxes. So step 1's going to be jacking up both sides. So we'll go ahead and remove our wheels, which are, you guessed it, 19mm. To remove this strut fully, there's going to be 2 19mm. You got your bolt head here and your nut here. This top one is a camber bolt, so just make sure you leave that one separate, I guess. And then you're going to have a 12mm here to remove that brake line, and then another, this is a 12, I believe, to remove this brake line. Sorry, this is the ABS, I meant to say. So we're going to go ahead and remove all those. This will drop down a bit, and then we'll start removing the top. So I'm going to go ahead and hold my socket head on the bolt side, and then use the impact to take off the nut on the other side. And then here's our camber bolt. So that's going to have a washer and then your nut on the end here. We're going to go ahead and do the same thing with the bottom. There's our 12. There's both those. This just gets removed on the side just like that, and then this kind of pulls down and pops out. So there's kind of a lip that it goes up into when you put it back. So now this is fully loose. So the only thing holding it on is this lower bolt here. So I'm gonna go ahead and lift this up. You can also put a little jack underneath it if you want to kind of get some pressure off of it and make it easier to remove this final one. But just all the tension of this movement right here is holding this bottom one in. So I'm gonna go ahead and lift this one up and pull that final bolt out. Now that that bolt's out, we go ahead and put our nut back in and then put it to the side. There we go. All right, so now we're gonna be looking like this. Our knuckles fully removed from the strut here, and this is just floating. So we're gonna go ahead and remove, and we're gonna remove the two 13s. For the last one, you're gonna need a buddy to help you underneath, or just be able to catch it yourself pretty much when you lower it down. So that's what I'm gonna do. So here's the stock strut, and we've got our mounting area here. So we're gonna go ahead and take our top mounting spacer and put that right on top. Fits perfect. So I'm gonna do a washer and a nylon nut for each screw there. So to start these, we're gonna do one washer and one nylon nut. It's a 13. All right, so there we are, we're flat all the way around, and that's looking good. So now we're gonna go ahead and take our studs and put them in there. One side of the studs is gonna have an Allen head in it, so we'll tighten them into the spacer with that. I'm gonna put just a touch of lithium grease on everything. You ever need to remove this stuff, it's always a good idea to have a little bit of grease on there. And it'll also keep the threads clean, keep rust out of them and everything good like that. So after adding some grease, I tightened them all down with the Allen key, and now we're left with that. So that's gonna be your installed spacer on this side. We're gonna go ahead and remove this strut. It's gonna be all the same steps. Your two 19s, your two 12s for the ABS and brake line, and then whatever size you have up here between 12 and 14. So here's both the spacers installed. We've got the studs on with the Allen key tightened up. So we're gonna go ahead and get a buddy and put this in and then see how we line up. So we're gonna put the top on first. Who needs that shit? Who needs that shit, Black? So this is what we're looking like after putting it up. A little bit, just a touch. And then this is where we're at down here. So this is gonna have to go down. I don't know how we're gonna figure that out, but we'll figure it out. And then up top here, you just have enough thread to be able to put these back on. All right, so there, those are all three tightened and ready to go. And then you still got plenty of access. Okay, so that is in, top's in, and we just got the bottom in. So what we had to do was cut a 2x4, put it in this hole here, and then we caught it on this lip right here on the edge of the strut to help bring it up. And then we eventually got the bolts in place. Not real easy, a little bit tough, but you can get there eventually. So I'm gonna put my camber bolt as all the way inwards, and then tighten my lower bolt, and then put our two 12s back on, and then do it all again. All right, so we just lowered it, and we definitely got all of the inches that were told. I know 2 inches from a mile away. And here's the amount of space we got. Xavier's doing a preliminary inspection here. How are we looking?
I fit.
I drove it back and forth a little bit to get it equaled out. It was definitely a little higher than it should have been. So now we're gonna get to the back. All right, so here's the rear portion off. This is our trailing arm. So we're gonna have 3 bolts, 2 there and 1 in the back. Unfortunately, this is kind of the scary part where it's more than likely pretty rusted in there. So we're gonna try to loosen these and see how it goes. But I'm gonna go ahead and spray some PB Blaster in there as much as I can to hopefully do something, because we need Jesus during this time. We'll let that sit for 10 seconds and then try to zap them off. And then we'll do the same thing with the other side. All right. All right, we're golden.
Another one. One more to go.
One more to go. So there's the trailing arm down. There's your 3 bolts. And then we're just gonna have to take this and fit our spacers in there. So now that the trailing arms are removed, we're gonna go ahead and remove the struts on each side. So step 1 of removing those is to top this off. There's gonna be a Phillips head inside of this hole that you have to take off first. And then this piece just pries up. Ask me how many times I've done this. And then you're gonna have up here 3 bolts. That's gonna be the top of your strut. So let's go ahead and get the other side off. So now down here you're gonna have, so if you're doing this for the first time, this will be a clip that's really rusted on there. Just try to hammer it off with a flathead as best you can. I just have a zip tie because I broke it the first time. And then otherwise you're gonna have the same thing, a 19 and 19. And then the nut on this side is also 19 and 19. So take those off, then this is free, and then we'll remove up top and do the same thing we did on the front. Definitely a 2-person one, taking this strut out. You'll grab the strut from the bottom here, so there he is up there. Say hello. Hello. I'm just gonna go ahead and remove him. All right, there's one. Now do it again. So now I imagine putting these spacers on are gonna be pretty similar to the front. So I'll go ahead and install them. So this is the hardware that we're gonna use for the trailing arm spacer. So I've got a lock washer, a normal washer, and the grade 8 bolt. And then we're using this spacer and this spacer for the front. So that's gonna be everything you need for this. For the rear. Once you're up in here, they're 19mm bolt heads. So it's gonna look like this. We've got our spacer, this bolt and that bolt. One singular larger spacer with the bolt as well. So that's going to be our 2-inch drop for the trailing arm. So I'm gonna go ahead and start tightening this. Alrighty, so we just got those 2 connected. I'm gonna go ahead and put my zip tie in to hold that brake line down, and then I'm just gonna tighten these by hand, our spacers over here for the trailing arm. So wheel looks like it's in the center. Our camber looks like it should be alright by the time we put it down and everything. Our sway bar is a little tight, but we should be alright. And yeah, putting this back on is a pain, so we're gonna film the other side just to get a better look at it. And then he's tightening the top hats now. All right, so we're gonna do a time lapse on this side. This side is all installed. Everything's in there. Trailing arms are tightened. I tightened them by hand. This trailing arm is dropped down a little more than the other one. Okay. Oh my God. Do something. Oh. Did you just finish?
No, I'm alright.
Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and slowly put these in. He's gonna jack up the hub to get this not so crooked on here. Okay, done. I'm just gonna walk these in to where they're kind of tight. Alright, that's good. Same thing with this dog. And then the last one here. Alright, there's our spacers in. So we got the big dog up front and the little dog in the back here. There's that. Putting this strut back in, and we'll drop this back down, put our strut back up, and then put these 2 awful bolts back in. Alright, there's our hat. We got the studs out about that much. So we're gonna go ahead and put this up in here, try to line her up. So you've got to turn this and then move everything in at the same time and keep your side skirt on. So there's the spacer up there. You can see it a little bit. Let me lube her up.
Always.
What we learned from the first one. You go like that, maybe? That's pretty straight. This is how we did the 2x4. We pushed the strut up at this jack, and now we're gonna take a second jack from right here to then hopefully move this in. So you'll do the bottom screw first. Once you can get a flathead in there and actually reach the hole, then you can move this into place. So getting to that point is a little tough. Okay, got it finally. Okay, so now that we're in there, now we gotta walk this in. There we go. Okay, so now let's take our bolt and try to get this to line up here. Yeah. Yeah, why don't they make these pointed, right? So that one's in. I'm putting the nut on the other side now. Got it. I was gonna say stop. But now what we're gonna do is make sure your top is tightened, and then we're gonna tighten these two 19s and then put the wheels back on, or sorry, and then hand tighten the trailing arm spacers, then put the wheels back on, and then we'll see the overall height difference here. So we zip tied our brake lines back on. We got a ton of space right now because it's up in the air. And then we put the wheels back on. We're gonna go ahead and drop it now. This thing's lifted, dog. Let's see, head test.
Oh yeah.
We're working.
With ease.
With ease. I don't know if I can even get in this thing anymore type shit.
It'll probably settle once you roll it.
Yeah, let me roll it. I feel high.
Yeah. A little bit, yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Oh, a little bit lower in the back.
30 and what, a quarter?
Yeah, about a quarter.
And here's the driver's front. 30 and
About 3/4.
3/4.
Yeah.
So what, a ½ inch difference?
Yeah, just about. This one's slightly higher. It's 31 and an eighth.
The other one was 30 and 3/4.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's way different.
Yeah.
½ an inch. So I wonder what this one's usually.
31 and about an eighth. So that's only about an eighth off.
Yeah. We're just gonna go ahead and do a test drive, hit a couple bumps, make sure the wheels don't fall off. Go through a couple yards to make sure the wheels don't fall off.
We're at about 14 inches.
On the front.
Yeah. Mud flap sitting about 7 inches. Bumper's about 14 as well.
Perfect. Go off the road.
Looks good. Woo! Looks good to me.
Hey guys, just wanted to do a outro here for the lift kit that we just put on the Forester. So after a couple days and a couple drives, everything's been good. Everything's been riding good. It's been driving really nice. It's nice to have that extra ground clearance. So I'm going to see, we might end up putting on the coilovers and see if we can get a little bit more height out of it. I know we have to also space up a couple different things, but we'll look into that down the road. But yeah, it comes with everything you need. So, and then just to mention, thank you once again to Max Speeding Rods for sending me this kit. If you guys want to look into getting a kit yourself or any of their other materials that they have on their site, feel free to check the link in the description. And I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Make money, take money, earn, crack money, drug money, bail money. Heard they got life